Paulami Saha has information of a public comment by Mohan Bhagwat. Mohanji Bhagwat is the Sarsang Chalak of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Every word he says, people in government and on the outside latch on to and listen very carefully. Paulami, take our viewers through. In the flashes that you've sent, I see some interesting comments about the tradition of evolving a consensus. That's why there are two sides, listening to both sides, building a consensus, very important. What all has Mohan Bhagwatji said?
Well, a couple of lines from Mohan Bhagwat, who's speaking in Nagpur at the moment. He says, during election, competition is inevitable. I'm just translating. He's obviously speaking in Hindi at the moment, but it should be based on truth. Our tradition is of evolving consensus, and that is why Parliament has two sides, so that both the sides of any issue are considered. We've made strides in many fields. He speaks about Manipur एक वर्ष से शांति की राह देख रहा है, प्राथमिकता से उसका विचार करना होगा. He says people have given their mandate, everything will happen according to that. Why? How? Sangh does not get into it. चुनाव के आवेश से मुक्त होकर देश सामने उपस्थित समस्याओं पर विचार करना होगा. चुनाव प्रचार में जिस प्रकार एक दूसरे को लड़ाना, तकनीक का दुरुपयोग, असत्य प्रसारित करना ठीक नहीं. विरोधी की जगह प्रतिपक्ष कहा जाए. These are some of the lines from what Mohan Bhagwat has said while speaking in Nagpur. चुनाव सहमति बनाने की प्रक्रिया है. सचित संसद में किसी भी प्रश्न के दोनों पहलू सामने आए, इसीलिए ऐसी व्यवस्था है.
It's very interesting. This is the first time we are hearing from Mohan Bhagwatji, the RSS Sarsang Chalak. He says, इस बार भी हमने अपना लोकमत जागरण का कार्य किया. We worked to reach out to people, try and make them aware of the elections. Vistarak Sevak Maryada ka palan karte hue chalta raha. So we kept trying to expand our work. Apne kartavyo ko kushalta purvak nibhaya. He's also talking very interestingly about the need to try and find a solution to what happened in Manipur. You know, that is interesting. He doesn't like the fact that elections were held in this acrimonious fashion. But the fact, Sheila Bhatt, that he's reaching out, making a public comment on Manipur and also talking about the theory of consensus in the way that Parliament functions. The first time we're hearing from Bhagwatji since the results came out.
Yes, very, very interesting. It's a headline news, and it's happening at a time when the cabinet has been just declared. So it is kind of a setting national agenda, not the only government agenda, because by mentioning Manipur, he is expanding his advices. So I think it's very interesting, very important that he has mentioned Manipur. And I think two things is there, that RSS is also, after the election and after all noises are over, he is kind of taking an independent stand. One. And second, you know, we must all remember that RSS is going to be 100 next year. So lot will happen within the RSS, on the RSS platform also, and within BJP and between BJP and RSS relationship also.
You know, it's
and
interesting
RSS
that he says the new government has taken shape. Why it happened the way it did does not concern the Sangh. Remember, we are translating from Hindi to English, so be mindful of that. He says the Sangh works for refining public opinion. In every election, we did it. This time, we do not get entangled in the analysis of the outcome. During election, competition is inevitable, should be based on the truth. Our tradition is of evolving consensus, which is why Parliament has two sides of the issue on all issues. He says also, see that very interestingly, Manipur में एक साल से शांति की राह देख रहा है. प्राथमिकता से उसका विचार करना होगा. You know, it's like pretty much in the way that he's framed it, it's a directive or a very stern message to the Modi government.
Absolutely, and this is a big worry for the Sangh, considering the fact that outreach to the northeastern states has been one of the core priorities, in fact, dating back even earlier than when the Ram Janmabhoomi movement was started, Rahul. So the fact that not only the Sangh, but even allied organizations like the ABVP have for decades now been running a dedicated Northeast outreach program, including students' integrated experience in interstate living. All of these point to the fact that what the Sarsang Chalak is saying is that the government now better pay attention to Manipur.
You know, and also, Sheila, but I'm curious to know from you, do you think that the government will have to listen more to the RSS? They've not that they've gone away from the RSS's agenda on any key point, but the level of consultation which may have been there, will it go up a couple of notches on the back of this verdict in your view?
I don't go by what publicly discussed, because we also have an access to privately what is happening between the two. When I had in Varanasi, I asked Amit Bhai that what has happened, what JP Nadda as a party president has said about RSS. He said, what is your problem? I am the RSS. Even Rajnath Singh has said in the similar manner. So I think this public perception of divide is also not correct, and public, if we think that what all BJP does is RSS doing, and what RSS thinks is only BJP follows, is also wrong. So they are two different organizations, but definitely RSS is a parent organization, and that kind of like today what Bhagwat has said will be taken seriously from Kashmir to Kanyakumari amongst all RSS and BJP followers both. So that is the way they are. And I think today's Bhagwat statement is very much important in view of the fact that he's kind of telling BJP people also and all the people in general also that let us forget, Rahul, in India, हम कहते हैं ना बुरा ना मत मानो होली है. So he is in a serious tone telling कि चुनाव खत्म हो गया, सब डिवाइड खत्म, अभी काम करो, और काम में उसने one of the agenda मणिपुर में शांति लाने का कहा है.
That's a very important message. Shantanu Gupta is also the biographer of Yogi Adityanath, the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister. Yogi Adityanath was asked to stay back last evening. The other chief ministers went back to states like Rajasthan, to states like Madhya Pradesh. The UPCM stayed back. He met with Rajnath Singh in the morning. He met with Amit Shah. He met with JP Nadda. Your best sense of what was discussed and how Yogi Adityanath is trying to position himself post the verdict?
I think, Rahul, whenever Yogi Adityanath comes to Delhi, he meets the Prime Minister, Amit Shah ji, Rajnath ji, Nadda ji, and normally the President and the Vice President also. So that's the normal routine. And in fact, Prime Minister, it seems to my understanding, have told in many occasions in Chief Minister's meeting that Yogi Adityanath is normally very diligent. He takes notes of whatever Prime Minister says. Next time when he comes back, he shares that whatever he told, how high completed. I think it's a routine visit, but yeah, every chief minister, every state president is asked to submit a report. But I think that detailed report will take time. So I think, to my understanding, it's a routine that whenever Yogi Adityanath comes, he meet all the senior leaders. But he being a parliamentarian, for him, these power corridors of Delhi are not new.
And we're hearing some voices from within the BJP and the government ecosystem, Sanjay Jha, questioning that the BJP has been able to make the government allocate portfolios, and Rahul Gandhi hasn't made up his mind on whether he'll be leader of the opposition. How do you look at the resolutions which were passed asking Rahul Gandhi to be leader of the opposition? And Kharge ji in fact said at the end, हम चिट्ठी भेज देंगे आपके नाम की speaker को. That was said in jest, but indicating how strong the mood in the Congress was around Rahul Gandhi becoming the new leader of the opposition. What's your sense? Will he bite?
Well, Rahul Gandhi has categorically stated that he will take a call on that. Hopefully, he will do it very soon. But, Rahul, since you mentioned Manipur, I think it's very important to just kind of bring a fact in front of your viewers. All this talk about northeast reach is all nothing but humbug. Manipur has burnt over a year, 1 year, okay? And let me tell the gentleman from Business Today who talked about the BJP's Northeast strategy, the Prime Minister has not visited it even once. And the people of Manipur have given both the Lok Sabha seats to the Congress party, which tells you that you can't take the people of India for granted. And I think the Prime Minister needs to explain that. I mean, you don't need the RSS to do your batting. There are thousands homeless, hundreds dead. The state is still, a kind of a tinderbox, and India's Prime Minister is missing in action. So, he can gloat over this 3.0, etc. But let's not get carried away here. This is a coalition government. This is no longer that brutal majority government that Mr. Modi had. And I will keep repeating this, Rahul, not just because I have facts to back my statement, that Mr. Modi's 10 years are a lost and dark decade for India.
Okay, that's your view and you're entitled to it. Remember also that he's just repeated history by coming back to power a third time. The only other Prime Minister who did it was Jawaharlal Nehru. That's quite unique, even in a global context, not just from India's prism, but everybody has the right to express their view. And even the Sarsang Chalak is saying that in democracy there must be two sides, and effort must be to build consensus, which is frankly what India today has been saying the last several years, which is why we have a democratic newsroom where every voice is heard, and I think that's what Sarsang Chalak, Bhagwat Saab, is saying as well. See that there's a big union budget in a few days from now. We know that the finance ministry officials have been working on it. From this 125-day plan that's being built, what can you tell our viewers in terms of the effort that's been made in the background and what's likely to pan out?
You know, one of the first decisions that's been announced is 30 million affordable houses. So it's clearly going to be a continuing expansion of existing schemes. There might be a smattering of new ones. Social media has, of course, exploded with the comments whether Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will now try and push a middle-class kind of tax break budget.
We'll she'll have to focus on farmers and the poor as well in a much bigger fashion than
One thing is very clear. The macro backdrop, government revenues and the overall fiscal position of the union government has not been better than this one. And therefore, if there is a need that the Prime Minister feels that he needs to provide a boost to the consumption economy, including somehow respond to the 55 odd seats lost in rural India, the budget will be an absolutely important occasion, Rahul. But along with the budget, just one quick point, I remember when the convergence bill was pushed almost 24 years exactly in NDA 1, that didn't happen, but today we are seeing at least I&B and IT converge under one minister who was also handling telecom, which has now been carved out. So I think almost 25 years later, we can perhaps have a framework for social media regulation, which this country needs and which has bothered this government a lot in the past.